Hey folks, we're back for our video blog 2. We've had awful lot go on over the last 5 or 6 weeks since the last time I did this. I reported back in at that point that we were still waiting for our tap room equipment to turn up to allow us to install that and finalise or finish off the work we'd done at the existing brewery. That all arrived about 2 weeks after I put the last blog post out, so we've been through the whole process of installing that. So we've now got a fully functional brewer's office down in the brewery, a sink with glass washer and dishwasher for the brewery team to get all their different things they use in the day in, and a little kitchen for them to make lunch and various different things in, along with obviously the front end of that being the actual taproom bar which faces the front door of the brewery. So we open on the 7th of December, Friday 7th December, for our monthly first Friday of the month taproom opening. So that was the very, very first time that we used that as a customer area. So come down, we'll have loads of can stock if you want to get stocked up for Christmas. Come down, use the place. We'll be open at 5 o'clock until 10 o'clock as normal. So it'll be great to see some of you and share a beer. The last few weeks have been dead nice actually. We've got to a point where we're no longer, as we have been since we installed the brewery in St Phillips, we're no longer in a position where we've just been putting new things in and constantly expanding, so constantly every month trying to figure out how we use the new equipment, how we staff the extra labour going into using new equipment, and essentially trying to get our feet under us. In the last 5 or 6 weeks I feel like we've finally got to a point where we have some stability, and we're just trying a day by day, week by week basis to improve our processes. We've been working very hard on our yields, both at the front end and the back end. So both the wort produced yield, so liquid created at the very, very front end across into tank, but also at the back end and the canning line and kegging runs, trying to ensure that we're making the very most of the liquid that we've got in tank through into package. And it's made a fairly significant difference actually, having that time to actually step back and focus on both sides of those. So we've seen our wort transfer, our liquid transferred across the tank jump up quite significantly, which means that we're getting on general about maybe 200-300 litres of liquid transferred over more now than we were only 6 weeks ago, which obviously 200-300 litres worth of liquid is significant cash at the package side. From a packaging yield perspective, Theo, our packaging manager, has been working very hard on percentages on that side, and he's just chipping away at it. And whereas you were looking at sort of 70 to 75% yields of transferred liquid, maybe going back 2 months, we're now up to high 70s, low 80s, so sort of 5, 6, 7% increase across the board. So again, that's making a huge difference both in our top end turnover, so we've more liquid to sell in the first place, and we're making more money off of the ingredients that go into tank. So that's translated into really, really nice figures actually. Through September, October, November, you can see our turnover gradually increasing off the same amount of labour, but most importantly the net profit at the bottom end increasing. So we've averaged just over £100,000 per month through those 3 months, and we're posting profits in the region of 20,000, 22,000, and October just went past it. We've got our final numbers in for October, and we're looking at a 28,000 net profit in October, which are all really, really great figures, and really nicely they reflect the projections that we put together and posted on our Crowdcube raise. So we built all of our plans for the coming year. Well, back end of last year, obviously, we built our plans around about projections. Projections always are guesswork. They're educated guesswork, obviously, But guesswork, and it's dead nice now to see at the back end of the year starting to see figures that reflect what we hoped we could achieve. It gives us a great deal of confidence, obviously, going forward, going into Finzel's. If we can do what we thought we could do on the existing brewery, both in turnover and profit, net profit margins, gives a lot of confidence. Obviously, we can go on and do the same thing at Finzel's and keep executing the projections that we've set out. Last month, we brewed a beer with Dea, Magic Rock. It's just been released, Sinister. We went up to Dea and brewed that with them. That was a continuation of the compulsory fun. So we invited Dea and Magic Rock down to our place last year, and that's turned into a beer that we've repeated a number of times. So off the back of that, Theo invited us up to his brewery. We went and brewed a beer with them. Released last week. We recorded a podcast, and that podcast is, I think, just about to be released. If you keep your eye on our social media channels, you'll see that pop up. Jack and I also went out to Bilbao in San Sebastian, so went to the Basque Country. It was really, really great fun. Visited Basqueland Brewing Company and brewed a collaboration with them as well, which was a 4-way thing. It was called 4-Layer Cake, and that was with Track North, Basqueland and ourselves. So brewed a beer with them on the Thursday, and then the whole weekend actually all transpired from a conversation with Track and North about doing a charity half marathon. So Jack, myself and the guys from Track and North went across to Bilbao after the collaboration with Basqueland in San Sebastian and ran the Bilbao night half marathon in aid of Action Against Hunger. It's a raise of money for them, and then came back on the Sunday. So it was a bit of work and a bit of play. It was a dead nice weekend. Jack and I also went out to Gothenburg and had our first, I think it was our first major international festival. We sort of send some beer abroad, not huge amounts. Obviously we don't have much, so that there's no real point in us prioritising hugely export markets. But I think it's a really nice thing, a really important thing actually for us to have or people to have an awareness of who we are and what we are in the wider market. So we've always tried to make sure that we have a sprinkling of our product going out into what we think are really key craft beer markets, and obviously Sweden's one of them. So we got an invite out to All In Beer Festival, and Jack and I went out and spent the weekend out there, and the feedback to our beers was great. So it was a really, really lovely weekend. And off the back of that, we've been invited out to Copenhagen in a week and a half's time to brew a collaboration with Tool at their brew pub Bruce in the centre of Copenhagen. So we're going to go out and do that, and that'll obviously give us some more spread into the area without having to send our own beer out there. So we'll have our name in a collaboration with beer that's produced out there already. So EIS certificates, I sent an email out maybe a couple of weeks back. That's still in progress. We're still waiting to hear back from HMRC with our PDF EIS certificates. So obviously, as I said in that email, the ones they gave us are handwritten, the old style handwritten certificates. Now they issue them to us and ask us to fill them out. I filled out 2. It took me over 5 minutes for each one. There's a huge amount of information to do. I inquired about printing directly onto them. Apparently HMRC won't accept that. The only way they'll accept printing onto it is via the new style PDF certificates. Why they didn't issue us the new style PDF when they issued in the first place, I have no idea. There's not often rhyme or reason to the decisions that HMRC make, I don't think. So we've requested that. That's now going back through HMRC's channels and will result in us getting a link through to these PDF, the online PDF certificates that we can upload the information to, print, and then all I will have to do is sign them rather than fill them out entirely. What I would say is I appreciate that some people will be desperate for these things. If you are not desperate and have patience, then please just keep that patience with us, and we'll get them through to you as soon as we can. It won't be long, I believe weeks rather than months. But if you are desperate, obviously we do have the forms that I can handwrite. So if you are desperate, please just drop us an email, and I'm happy, as long as it's not thousands of them, I'm happy to handwrite the ones that people are really, really keen to get a hold of. Just drop us an email and we'll do our very, very best to accommodate everyone. Finzel's obviously the big project. I've been posting a lot of stuff on social media, so I've been trying to walk past most mornings, take photographs, but I'm down there an awful lot just now. So the handover date's the 15th of February, and that date seemed like a lifetime away until recently, and all of a sudden the realisation that that date actually is not far away at all came to me. I think since between the last video blog and now, the realisation it was only a few weeks until we close down for Christmas, and that'll be a good week or two where not very much happens whatsoever, and then when we open back up after Christmas, we've only got 5 weeks until handover. So the escalation of work, planning work round about that is really ramped up. We've been meeting contracts on site almost every day, different contracts between the initial real heavy lifting build works, through electrics, plumbing, CCTV, fire install, all the various different parts of the project. The brewery install, obviously, glycol install, drained floor, the underfloor heating in the area, and all these different things. So we're meeting all these different contracts on site, trying to get as many quotes in as we can for each different part of the build to ensure that we're getting the best price and most efficient people. Obviously, there's always two sides to finding contractors for a project like this, and one of which is ensuring the quoted cost is low, but ensuring they can do it when we need them to, because obviously every week that we're not open is costing us money as well. There's an awful lot of overlapping contractors and trades in the project, so it's a big thing to pull together. The entirety of the front of the building now is down. So as the photographs are now, as if you're in Bristol itself, as it looks now is as it will look when we open the doors, looking at the front of the building. So that big square in the centre of it, rectangle now. It looks epic, and when you stand inside the building, it's just the view that we've been describing to people, up over Castle Park and over the water, you can all of a sudden see, and it's just a really, really cool, exciting thing all of a sudden to have seen it come from that big wall at the front of it to be opened up and get that view and get that appreciation for how it's going to look now, or how it's going to feel sitting down in that courtyard having a beer overlooking the water in the city. But not only that, the additional light there allows down into the building itself. So when you stand on the bottom floor now, you get a far, far better impression of how it's going to feel down there, where it was very dark before because obviously the wall was up there, and there was some natural light came in, but you only really got an appreciation of that on the first floor. So yeah, it's just epic to stand in there. They are on schedule for their works to finish on the 15th of February, so we are all planning around about that date. It doesn't look like they're going to go over. I think most of the major works are done now, all the very, very heavy structural things. The big thing that is almost in someone else's hands is the shop front, so the full height glass frontage that's going to get constructed in the inside of the building. Now that's a huge job. It'll be the biggest job that happens, I think, in the whole thing. But most of that happens off site, obviously. So we put Cubex, the developers, put an order in for the shop front that we as a group, Left Handed Giant and Cubex, have agreed upon the spec of that. They put an order in to a company, and obviously that will turn up in sections and get constructed in there. So the actual construction on site is a very small part of the job, which means that we're now in the hands of another company, a contractor, to hit their time in that. So fingers crossed that will happen between middle and late January. Be one of the last things that do happen. So we're sort of waiting for that with bated breath for it to turn up and begin. So I think that's about it for this. I've went on for almost 50 minutes now, so I apologise for the length. I intended these things to be quite quick and sharp. I hope everyone's well. I hope that I can see you all either at the tap room at the start of December, or we've also got our New Year's Eve event at Small Bar on the 31st of December, so potentially see you at either one of those events. I shall talk to you all soon. Thanks, bye.